So I guess we'll maybe take a brief jump. So when you're having the conversation in the kitchen,
You first talk with
That's
Carlos, and
first
we've
start with
already
Carlos and
we've
like
already covered that.
Then
And
it's
then
and it's Luke.
we do, but before we actually get deep into Luke's conversation, Nick talks to us first.
and
Yeah.
that
and
was
that was I was so surprised by that conversation because I had Nick pegged as the bad guy.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was not gonna change. He's gonna be a rough, and he comes up and apologizes to me, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like Telltale, wow, good work. Because I was so
Good
surprised.
job.
I'm like, okay, sure thing.
Of the apology poll, it said accepting Nick's apology. 90% said yes, and the 10% said no.
see a lot of the major choices in this episode were really
Yeah.
easy ones.
Good or bad?
Or yeah, no brainer, or not no brainers because that insults people.
Carson, when you were playing your LP, I think you also had the same reaction as Reclusiarch. You seemed
I
like,
did.
very gung ho against Nick, and all of a sudden Nick was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you're like, "Oh, well, all right, that's fine."
Did
They
you
act
guys,
like real people, and that's what's so cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys with
So that's what I was saying.
did you guys with the conversation choices? Did you actually get to hear his whole sob story as well of why he was
Yeah.
so
I did.
immediately quick to judge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too, Kat? Kathleen, sorry.
Yeah, and I opened up to them too about what she'd been through with Lee and everything. So.
Oh yeah. Same.
The Reclusiarch, you were saying that you really liked that conversation that Clementine was having with Luke, and why was it that you really liked that conversation?
That was my favorite scene in the whole game when they.
Also, let's hear.
Yeah, first of all, the setting. Then they in a shed in the night. There's a candlelight. There's some great music going on, and
Music.
the writing is phenomenal. And I just love Luke's voice actor. He nails every sentence in that scene, and it's about this scene reconnects me as a player to season 1 so well when you start talking about Lee, about the group, even more so than the initial scene with Krista and Omid. And it's I guess in
It was
emotion
such a good. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a good scene, great dialogue, and just the way the conversation system works is that there's like small pauses when you choose your choice, and that too works so well in the scene. You can actually see Clementine thinking about what Luke is saying, and when I picked that, I killed him. It was so heartbreaking, and the line delivery just so good. So
Because it plays pauses where you would expect pauses to be in a real conversation.
yeah, it was just so natural.
It all flowed, even though you were making your own choices. It still, no matter how you picked, it would flow.
That is what I love about the dialogue system in Telltale, is it does feel like a natural conversation.
Yeah.
And the fact that they do, the other reason, even though it's not an action sequence, the fact that they give you the time sequence for you to respond, again, makes it more realistic. Because in a real conversation, you're just not going to sit there thinking like you could in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
You can wait forever to give a
like,
response.
Stare at him for an hour.
They're like
explosions are going on. You're in war.
Like, Shepard, quick! Like, or your shields are failing. Do something, and you're like just waiting. Wait, I'm thinking.
You zoom in on him. You zoom in on him. He's playing like the Mexican cockroach.
Just staring at Liara.
Yes, exactly. But I agree with you completely, David. That I love. Those are subtle things that I did not notice or recognize until you brought it up in your Let's Play.
Yeah.
And then what's her face shows in. What's her name again?
Well, are we done talking about Luke? Are we done talking about?
No, sorry.
Well, I want to make my statement on the Luke thing. Did you guys mention? Did they get to the part where you mentioned what was it? Where you get to talk about Lee and the group you were with?
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Yeah. I just have to say, I think I probably, if I had to say a poll, I'd probably say 60% of the people that played The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 1, probably chose the Lee option because if you played season 1, you know who Lee is, and you know how great of a guy you have to remember him as.
Actually, I picked her, and I actually picked him by curiously because I was like wondering. I wanted to know what Clem's actual opinion of Lee was because I always knew what Clem's opinion of Lee was when Lee, of course, was in the room because I could only be Lee asking her. But I've always wanted to know what she actually thought of Lee, and if I did my job right in season 1 in taking care of her.
Yeah. And the one you were thinking about, I think her name is Rebecca.
That was Rebecca.
Yeah, it's Rebecca, the main woman.
Because I'm genuinely curious if anyone, and I'm going to assume for the benefit of the doubt, no one chose that conversation choice. But what would happen if, when she's all like, man, you better not be nice, you better not get too comfy. What would happen if you actually chose the conversation choice that was, whose baby is it?
I've seen it.
I didn't take that. I was so curious.
No, my mom was like, I want to see what happens, Angel Arts, if you right.
What happens is, if you tell her about the baby, she asks you, she kind of looks at you funny, and she's like, how do you know about that, or something along those lines.
Oh, so she's
and
already...
and then
Oh,
the
no.
camera angle, the way the camera angle, like, it sort of is pointed down at Clementine, and she's got like this.
Oh.
I expected.
And she actually, I think her wording is something along the lines of, maybe you should be more nice to me from now on. Like, that was her, yeah.
Oh, blackmailing Clementine.
So Clementine sort of becomes this, really devilish blackmail. She basically blackmails her to try to be nice to her.
Nice.
And
Clem actually says that to her?
She says that to her. She says,
oh my gosh.
She looks at her with this devilish grin, and she says, maybe you should be more nice to me from now on.
Oh my gosh, Clem.
Rebecca, like she's shocked. Like,
yeah, I'd imagine.
She's like, I can't believe this little girl just said this to me, and she ends up just walking away. Like, she doesn't have a response to that. She just walks away.
That has to play. That's gonna have to play a part later in an episode. Was that you who chose that? Or did you watch someone else?
I didn't. I saw somebody else do it, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, I wouldn't have chosen that, but wow.
I would not have chosen it, but all of a sudden I love the response of that for some reason. I would have loved to see where that would have gone.
Yeah, I'm curious to follow that Let's Play just to see like how that affects future interactions with Rebecca, because I think it'll make a huge difference
knowing that
Rebecca knowing that you know about the baby early on, at least.
Oh yeah,
so,
but yeah, everything else was just like, whatever. I'm just gonna eat this fried rice that I don't know what the heck she was eating. It looked like a mixture between cereal and oatmeal.
It looked really gross. I don't know what it is, but it was gross.
So next day,
the fishing part, I felt it was a little interesting. Like, you had that peaceful, quiet moment where you can actually just catch a breath and like. Mm-hmm. You can actually have a conversation with someone. This is actually pretty nice.
Dead people.
Do you guys think that there was a significance to the story that Pete was?
She hit the deer.
Yeah, like, do you think the writers included that for a reason?
I feel as if.
Go ahead.
You want to say?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
Well, can we talk about? Will we pretty much get a choice after that? And I think that's why, because they want us to think of, oh, do I want to have this person stick around, because they're not going to be very good at helping me survive, because he can't even shoot a target.
Well, unfortunately, they made that choice for me, because I also saw spoilers or whatever. I also saw what was Nick's father's name? Was that Pete?
No, that's his uncle.
That's his uncle. Pete is his uncle.
Pete is his uncle.
Yeah.
I saw Pete because I also saw you also see Pete get his leg bit, and instantly I was like, I'm sorry, you made that choice for me.
Of course, you're going to you're not going to go back or whatever. Well, of course you know that he's doomed, but it might impact the way that whether or not you helped him out or something. I don't know.
Well, from what I heard, Nick escapes into the forest, and I don't know whether or not he does return to the house or if he does get just. I don't know.
Well, what I got out of the conversation leading up to all that, when they're walking in the forest, is that I had the utmost respect for Pete, but it turns out I didn't like him after that conversation, because he's really mean against Nick.
Mean-spirited towards Nick. Well, he also
several times, and
he explains why he does it.
Yeah, he does, but I don't agree with it.
I'm with Clusiarch on this one. I mean, I agree with him. I didn't like the way he was treating Nick. It was a way of like trying to, like, you could say
belittle him also.
Yeah, belittle him in a mental way, and I didn't like that. He's a grown adult now. He knows what he's doing. I mean, as a kid, it would have been a different story.
I think,
but we're in the apocalypse now. This is kind of not the time or the place for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
Well, I also think that, okay, so, yeah, it's obvious that Pete is going to be doomed, but I think it's going to explain why Nick is so kind of messed up afterwards. Mm-hmm. Because in my preview, I saw Nick just sitting there drinking.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And
you
I
chose
think
to save
that's
her.
part. Yeah, I think that's.
Right? Okay.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh yeah, same here. I didn't choose to save him either.
But I think that's partly why he's going to be so messed up. Is because he had that argument with Pete right before he died. So it's like he didn't. So that probably made it feel so much worse.
I think.
Go ahead.
Angel. The way that Pete treats Nick, it almost makes him sort of the opposite of Larry, like in season 1.
Yeah.
Because Larry was so hard on everybody else, but his daughter, like, most of the time could do no wrong. Whereas with Pete's pretty nice to everybody else, but he's so hard on Nick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which again, he did say that it was like, oh, because I want to toughen him up. It's like, but I was again siding with Carson and Reclusiarch. It was like, I think by now he would have toughened up, if not from aging and getting to this age, but the freaking zombie apocalypse. I think your job is done. At least the role that you wanted to fill, I think that's been done already.
Yeah, he mentions that we all have a role to fill, and then I don't know which options you guys chose. I chose my option, which was maybe you should tell him that, and then he has like that silent moment to think, and then he thinks about it, and maybe he wants to do it.
But yeah, unfortunately,
I
do that as well.
He does not get the chance.
And that's what made the rest of that episode more painful when that happened. With the bodies that you end up finding, did you guys catch the character? There were 2 of them at least that I recognized.
Yes. I felt like I recognized. Was it Roman? I felt like I recognized Roman. Okay, I did see Roman.
At first I didn't recognize him, but then when I looked back at the episode, I was like, "Holy shit! Oh my god! How did I miss him?"
I recognized the back of his shirt. I think for some reason the black
jacket.
One he wore, the jacket. I recognized the jacket. I was like, and I saw the ball. I was like, Roman. No.
Who was the other one?
Actually, I was looking around and I saw this spot of a girl. I couldn't place her. I have seen this model somewhere before, this model, but I couldn't place her. But I think is that the girl you see in the video in
Anna Korea?
Yeah.
Anna Korea. Yes.
Anna Korea, the pregnant girl in episode 3.
Anna Korea.
Oh, that girl. Oh yeah, that woman. Yeah, the one that Logan was talking about, and then she left Crawford or whatever.
Yeah, you've seen her in Crawford in the videotape.
Yes.
I think that was her.
Yes, that is it. I believe she's wearing the exact same outfit that she was wearing in the camera as well, Anna Korea.
But she's dead now, unfortunately.
And again, no baby to be found.
Well, maybe there's a whole little village. Maybe there's a whole little village of babies at this point. I don't even care. It's apocalypse. Same thing.
We find out that Tavia's community has all these babies. That's all the baby community.
We're not surprised.
That's where Kara. That's where her baby is.
Krista.
Yeah, Krista.
I would not be surprised.
The decision of choosing Nick versus Pete.
Wait, you forgot the one with the dying man with the water.
Oh, the water.
Oh yeah, that's another big one.
That.
That was I don't know.
I'll say quickly, my pragmatic choice was I gave him water because I wanted to keep him alive long enough for that he could tell me where Krista was.
Right.
And I was like, no, you're not going to die me. I'm going to figure out where I don't care about you. I care about the person that you know about.
You know, I agree with Lucky Jack on this. I chose to give him the water because I was like, you're going to tell me where Krista is. And if you don't tell me, well, then I regret giving you that water.
I want some of this water? Oh.
But here was the poll for it.
I didn't give him water.
What happened?
No, I didn't.
I haven't seen yet what happens. What happened?
Could you explain what happened?
He dies. He doesn't really... I mean, he's dies kind of miserably. So.
Oh. Okay.
Could I ask?
Yeah.
Could
But I don't care. He tried to attack a little girl, so that's what he gets.
But either way, I don't think he ever actually says anything about Chris or says something
No.
like that.
No.
He dies before anyway.
The poll was this: if you give the water to dying man, about 70% gave the dying man water, and 30% said no, which we see a little bit of a rise there.
A little bit of a rise.
People saying, you know, I don't want to give this man. Why? He tried to attack me. He tried to kidnap me and do bad stuff to me and Krista. So why should I give this man water? Which I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't like disagree with that argument.
I regret nothing.
actually, I forgot if I caught or not. Dave, did you give him the water? Or not?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave him water.
Oh, okay. And I feel like it was a little, I don't know, I don't know if anybody wants to side with me. Did you see it as a little bit of coincidence? Like, why was he there specifically?
It looked like maybe
I guess we'll find out.
Maybe did he fall down the river too, or did they get into a fight with Roman and his gang? And we might see some of them later. I don't know.
Maybe they're part of Roman's gang. Or I'm sorry, Carver's gang.
Carver's gang, sorry, Carver. But Roman was, or yeah, whatever. But I'm trying to think.
I mean, if we find Carver, maybe we'll find Krista. Maybe.
Because that was it. Okay, so I guess moving on. So then the decision with choosing between Nick or Pete. So I said I chose Nick. Kathleen, you said you also chose Nick.
I chose Nick too.
You chose Nick. What about you, Angel Arts and Dave?
I chose Nick as well. The reason, I think we all have the same reason almost, is that we saw that Pete was bit.
Yes.
And there's nothing to do to save him. Because, at least in my experience, cutting off the limb doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, however, Angel Arts commented on my video and said that in the past it was Pete who gave Clementine the benefit of the doubt when she was bitten. And that got me thinking, damn, did I?
Well, but I mean, there's a difference between seeing. There's a difference between seeing the bite afterwards and not knowing what bit, and then there's watching him get bitten right in front of you, saying, "Oh, I don't know, maybe it was a dog."
We don't see him get bit.
You don't see him get bit.
No, I saw.
But part of his leg is missing.
I saw him. I swear. I'll look back at the footage. I saw a zombie grab, and head goes over his leg, and he reels back and holds the leg back. I swear I saw him get bit in the leg.
Well, can't say for 100%.
For the record,
all I saw was a piece of his leg missing, and I was like, nah.
Well, for me, like I said, for the record, like I do think he was actually bit. For the record, I do actually think it's bit. However,
we'll make that a topic soon.
But that being said, like, and I didn't think about this until after the fact, not after the fact. Yeah, like it was Pete who gave Clementine the benefit of the doubt when he saw Clementine's bite, because the situation that they found in her all pointed to her being bitten by a walker, because they didn't see a dog. They didn't see her get bit, but what they did see is there were these walkers attacking her, and there was no dog to be found.
Yes.
And then in Pete's situation, you don't actually see Pete get bit. He claims that he lost his footing, maybe scraped his leg, although it's kind of bizarre that scraping his leg would have done that much damage.
But it was out of this one.
But it was.
No, go ahead.
But I mean, in the end I ended up choosing Pete, which and in my head I knew logically because during my actual playthrough I knew he was bitten. I figured he was bitten.
Yeah.
But I still went for Pete anyway, because even though logically I would go for Nick, my gut for some reason was going for Pete, and I don't know, I can't really explain it. And maybe because subconsciously I was thinking about the whole, benefit of the doubt thing with Clementine before. I don't know, but I ended up in the minority in that. And what changed?
Do you save Pete, or does he die anyway?
Pete does not die. Pete, at least by the end of that episode, Pete does not die. Nick runs away, so Nick does not die.
We don't know where Nick ran.
And during the next time on The Walking Dead, you see Clementine talking to Pete, and she's asking him, "What do we do now?" And Pete looks at a hacksaw next to him, which implies he's about to cut off his leg.
Which means that he himself is admitting he probably was bitten.
Which at that point it solidified for me that he was bitten, because why would he look at a hacksaw? So I thought it was pretty interesting that it wasn't a if you pick this person, the other person is going to die.
Yeah.
That was not,
So
unless you chose one way, it was a one-way road or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I chose behind my choice. I'll say quickly. Sorry, Carson.
Well, here's the poll for it right now, and it was actually a big change. In my poll originally, it was like I think about like 57, 58, 59% supporting Nick.
See, that's a better. Sorry,
yeah, but now the poll is this. The poll says, did you save Nick or Pete? 48% said Nick, and 52% said Pete. That's a big change.
But that's a better choice. I think it's all the other ones, which were.
Yeah. I agree with this choice. Like, which person do you choose? Who do you save, and who do you let live, and who do you let die? But if you choose Pete, you obviously see both of them are going to live.
I think that data has gotten skewed now that people realize that if you go for Pete, both of them at least survive the episode.
They want the optimum.
So that might be why.
In my view, I think that Pete's going to eventually die no matter what, because I think by the time he is going to cut off his leg, let's say the infection has already gone into his system, and there's not much you can do at that point, and he's going to die either way.
Especially if you think about it, since though, just remembering where they are and that his cut is the place where the wound is so close to the ground, it would have sped it up anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like poison in a way. Like, you can't, if you move your body around more often, it spreads the poison quicker.
And especially when you're exposed to, technically, again, not going to say because spoilers, more of it in a place that you wouldn't expect, which I don't know when they're going to actually address that in the game when they talk about why they turn.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
well, in my view, I'm gonna make my stance. I did choose Nick, and the main reason why is, and probably like Lucky Jack, I saw he was bit. I knew it was over for him, so I had to obviously just go for Nick.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a logical choice.
It's a logical choice to go to Nick. But what really threw me off is why Nick decides to scold me afterwards after I chose him.
Because he probably wanted us to help him. And I guess I'm also going to say this right now. I did not choose only because I saw him got bit. I was having the same, I told you, Kathleen, Recluse, I had the same mentality back in episode 1 of season 1. I thought I could save both of them. I looked and I saw Nick had more ammo and had the rifles. Like, okay, if I can get the walkers off of him, he can take enough time to shoot across the lake and save Pete Pete as well. But the game didn't like my logic as opposed to the other logic of their version of them both living surpassed mine.
It actually was another Carly Doug situation, at least the way it presented itself, because
almost to a fault actually.
Nick did have a gun. Pete, I don't think was armed very well.
He was out of ammo.
So he was out of ammo. So and maybe they did that on purpose, making you think, oh, it doesn't matter which one you choose, one of them is going to die. But it ended up, if you pick one, that Pete still survives. If you pick Pete.
And that's it. We make our choice.
Wait, here's the bigger question. I did want to ask this, and I'm sorry I have to point it out. The question is Pete gonna still die in the next episode? Because they say detriment, like in the wiki site. Is he gonna still turn or die because of the fever? Or is he gonna live because he hacks off his leg and that saves him?
Or will all the other survivors there we already saw how very violently or very chaotic they got when they were dealing with whether or not Clementine was bit, but because they didn't know she's bit or not. But when they know for a fact that Pete was bit, how are they going to react to him in their group still?
Yeah.
I personally would love if Telltale did keep Pete alive so that it did matter and it did affect the story a little bit having him alive. Like I'm hoping that he doesn't turn into another Ben who ends up dying the next episode anyway after you save him. But I don't know, like, that's extra resources for them to do in order to tailor the story such that if Pete lives then this happens, or if Pete died then this happens. So I don't know.
And I also want them to make a difference more than with Carly and Doug, whereas with Carly and Doug, it really was just kind of, a stenciled in where they just would replace Carly with Doug in most situations. I want to see an actual really big, long, different branch between if they kept him alive or not.
Yeah. What's your story-wise, because I know who's the expert on story, Reclusiarch, what's your thought on that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that developing a game probably isn't very easy, and if you have these multi-branch story-wise, because if you say Pete, you have his whole story, and you save Nick, and he has his whole story. That's gonna take a lot of time to do.
Well, that's the benefit of doing episodic gaming, then, isn't it?
Well, I think they already have all the games, or the whole game ready, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought the only reason why you would ever want to do episodic gaming was if you wanted to make little tweaks and things in between, just to make sure you had a perfect finished product or something.
Well, that would make sense.
Because otherwise, I don't know what would the appeal in this time, in this day and age of gaming would be of episodic gaming, if not for certain corporate benefits of that.
I can't say for certain, but I think they have the whole game done already.
Okay, then they're taking their time to.
They probably have the most of the storyline already figured out. Like the Bane. I'm pretty sure when they started season 1, they pretty much knew that Lee was going to die at the end.
Oh no! I don't mean like they're writing the story as they go. I mean just developing the game engine around that. I feel as if they take the time to do that.
I think that Telltale has said that the reason they like to do episodic games is so that they have time to tweak things in between. That's what I've read. That's what I've read. That's what I've read. So.
That's okay.
No, it's okay.
Are you alright? I'm sorry. So I guess the big prediction, the ending of the next time on Walking Dead, who do you all think was the person that she saw?
When she says, "I thought you were dead," I think she's talking to.
I'll say quickly, I think Krista.
Krista?
I'm actually going to make 2 predictions. I think it's either Krista, like you said, but I also think it's either Krista or Lily. I think it's going to be one of those 2.
It could be Lily, too. That's just
because we don't know what happens to her in season 1. She just drives off, or you abandon her if you choose that option. But I think it is going to be Lily, because there's a good chance that if you do... I don't know if you noticed this, Hark, when you hear when she drives off with the RV. Yeah, Kenny mentions that radiator isn't gonna last for a while, so she's got like 20 miles. So they assume she's dead.
That she's just gonna be stranded now, and
yeah.
So that's my. What would you guys?
I know some people aren't gonna agree with me, but I think it's Kenny because. I am just not sure that he's dead. I didn't think he died at the end. I assumed he was going to come back. And I think it's someone that she really believes is dead.
Well, okay.
Right.
And that could be...
But they never showed his death. So.
And what could happen is, maybe in the big fight, he got covered with enough of that gunk that was around them that maybe they just kind of turned away when they got too close because
there's a lot of different things that could have happened. You know, there could have been like a sewer hole there or something that he jumped into. You know, like, but that just seems like the biggest tactic that like movies use or like games use is like when they don't show the death and don't make it clear.
Yeah.
So are you least likely alive.
So are you assuming that Telltales would use a cliche to get a new character just by popular demand back into the series for its sake?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, I don't like to think. I think higher of them, though. I don't want
it would be cool to have Kenny back, though.
Well, I know, but it would be really cool to have a dog that wouldn't bite you immediately, and it would be cool to have Omid still with us now. But that doesn't happen in this world.
But Lucky Jack, to be fair, though, I think that if it was Krista, that's a little too obvious. Because I think it's way too obvious for it to be Krista. Because
that's why I said Krista or Lily. I think I'm leaning towards Lily, honestly.
I think it's someone from the first season at least.
But the best part is what if it turns out that it is Krista and they designed it thinking that we would all overthink it like we are right now and be... Because I'm now debating who it's going to be. What if they're that good or something like that?
I have two predictions. I think it's also Kenny, and I think Kenny is Carver. I think that Kenny was so broken up by what happened to him and his family that he decided to take on a new identity, a new persona, and he got his own new group, and Kenny's Carver.
That would be crazy.
That would be pretty good.
Blow my mind.
What about you?
If that's what it actually is, don't blame me because I'm just.
Yeah,
I will.
Thanks for ruining it.
On you.
What about you, Dave? What do you think?
Actually, I'm totally blank on this. I have no idea. I mean, it could be Krista, but it seems like too obvious. It could be Kenny, but I have no idea how the hell.
How the hell he
I
would
saw him got bits through the grates. I mean, how could they bring him back? I don't know. And I don't think it's Lily because of reasons that I can't really talk about here. But I don't know. I don't.
It's one of those people you're thinking.
I'm trying to think of other people she's come into contact with that it could be
Molly.
There's
no reason for her to believe she's dead, though.
Okay, what about that one Asian guy from episode 1 who went back to Georgia? No, back to Georgia. Back to
I don't think it's Glenn.
No, he's
Glenn's just. I feel like he just made a cameo. For the sake of the TV show.
He's a cameo appearance.
Alright.
But I'm throwing my baskets mostly into Lily. It possibly being Lily because I think personally, she thought she was dead. If you saw around her, you could see some walkers, and she's probably stranded alone. And she's probably could form her own group because she always wanted to be wanted to be the leader in the first season.
That is true.
That is true.
I love that character as well, so fingers crossed.
and again, I'm gonna admit I'm sort of blanking on the identity on who Carver was because for some reason I just don't remember that name being tossed around a lot.
Carver, according to episode 1, is somebody who used to be in their group and now he's not, and apparently he's antagonizing this group for some reason.
I remember they said something like, "Oh, remember what happened to Carver? Remember what happened with Carver?" And they said, "Oh, I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was antagonizing like that."
Well, I'm actually gonna go against something. Angel Lodge, I have to go against you saying that Kenny could be Carver because I honestly don't see if you remember the lake scene, I don't see Kenny just brutally murdering people in cold blood. I mean, unless there was like a crossfire with each group fighting each other.
I think that Kenny has shown that once he lost his family, once he lost everything, he got a little cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs. For Cocoa Puffs for a bit. A little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and now since he got separated from Lee and their group, there's no one around. If he is still alive
again, we do not know for sure yet.
Yeah.
We're all just stipulating. That's what we do here.
No, Hark secretly works for Telltale Games.
Just spoiled the whole thing.
Wouldn't that be not? No, I'm
serious.
Like, what do you guys think about the overall? The engine, the way the game was controlled, the pacing. How do you guys, if you had to sum it up in a couple short thoughts about the episode, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the game, on the episode overall?
Well, mine is a short review, if you want to go by that, if that counts, does it?
Go ahead.
Okay. The story was great. The action was great. The voice acting itself, the way they put you in that situation, is even much perfect. And you feel you as a player feel that emotion in that game. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna have to give it one of my very high ratings. I give it a 9.5. It's very well done, but there are some little cliche moments you're like, yeah.
Any of you other guys?
You want to go next, Kathleen, or because I think I'm still trying to figure out
sure. I guess I'll say what I said before. I loved this even more than the first season. I cannot wait for the second episode. I mean, I've played a lot of great games this year, but this is definitely in one of my highlights. I mean, well, for 2014 is a pretty good start of my gaming. So I definitely would say this is ramen worthy. That's how I typically rate games. I don't really give it 10 out of 10. But I would probably give it a 10 out of 10 or like a 9.75 just because of the glitches that I experienced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought, I mean, on an emotional scale, it definitely impacted me. Yeah, it definitely impacted me like more than many high budget, crazy graphic
Call
games.
of Duty Ghost now with dogs. Our dogs bite people too. We're good, right?
Call of Duty dogs. Yeah, but it definitely blew me away, and yeah, more people need to play this game. I feel like it's a little underrated compared to some of these crazy large titles.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I really like it as well. You know, emotional. I just like how they incorporated much of the Wolf Among Us system. Flowed well, great pacing. Some of the choices might have been made a bit more difficult to make. I would like to have more like 50-50
Yes.
kind of choices.
Like the Nick and Pete.
Yeah,
more like
yeah,
Nick
exactly.
And, yeah,
like
I
kill a
agree.
dog or not kill a dog. Like, are you a monster or are you human? Like,
Right.
It's
Are you a monster or a human?
yeah.
Jeez.
I deal in absolutes. But yeah, otherwise, 8 out of 10, easy.
Lucky Jack.
Okay, this might part probably be the one where everyone goes like, oh no. So as far as pacing goes, I still felt as if they really were rushing me through the game a little bit more. I didn't get the chance to get as engrossed in the environments or whatever as I was in the first one.
Okay.
They really did leave, as far as the story, it still left it assumed a lot that you still had played the first season, and I didn't like that because I was looking at it as its own installment of the game, which it should have enough that you shouldn't feel, oh, I'm so missing, oh, I totally missed out, I suck now because I didn't play any of the first season. I don't like that. It makes a person feel bad about playing the game but just being at a disadvantage at it. Again, the only thing I love more than the art style and the music are the characters that Telltale Games gives me. Telltale Games, you guys are phenomenal at your writing and creating characters that I can bond and make strong connections that they just feel so real in season 1, and I enjoy talking, and it's a good thing that conversation is one of the main aspects of this game because I get to talk and I get to learn about these people, but I'm really hoping that the people in this cabin I'll get to talk with more, or I'll be able to hang out and experience things with them more and not have them just ripped away like every other character in this episode has, because honestly that just sort of caught me off guard. And as far as controls go, I like the controls. It's a bit sad that they got rid of the number thingy because I loved in a really tight spot being able to quickly hit a number 2 or 3. I have to because I can hit a key much faster than I can mouse over something and quickly click something, and I'm afraid of actually misclicking, but with a key I know for a fact I got it. And all in all, I would give it a very strong 8 out of 10 if I had to pick a number, even though I don't like picking numbers.
You should be very careful what you wish for, Logan, because anyone who watches the TV series without giving anything away, the moment that you start to really get huge character development on a character and really spend a lot of time focusing on a character, that character is the next to go.
Well, yeah, and I know, and I'm not saying I wouldn't expect that, but I'm saying I at least would want that level of development. But a lot of these characters didn't even get to step 2
before
of
they
their development,
yeah,
and I did not like that at all.
I understand.
Yeah.
So that was my one pet peeve of this, was too fast for me to actually, because I like episode 1 of season 1. It started off slow. Nothing really entirely horrific happened. And then you got episode 3 and 4, and
well, I kind of disagree. I think that they were kind of pacing it at a good, they kind of rushed it, but they were doing it at a very paceful way where they're like, we're still introducing you some characters, but we're gonna go into them later in the future episodes. That's what I looked at it, and I thought this is the best way you can get into character progression. And that's why I gave it a 9.5 out of 10, because I realized in the future they are going to give more in depth with those other characters that we didn't get a chance to talk to.
And again, this is just episode 1 out of 5. We still have plenty of more awesome things to come. Whether or not I don't know if they're going to make any changes to that, because I guess besides us here in this podcast, there's been a lot of mixed reviews of the first season 2 already so far, touching upon the things that we've been touching upon. So it's still, I don't know. The future is still new to us. We have no idea where they're going to go with it.
You guys have.
Oh, go ahead, Angel.
You guys have already voiced everything that I enjoyed about the game, that I loved about the game, so I'm not going to repeat that. But my 2 main criticisms of the game, David already brought up, which was better choices, as in more 50-50 grayer choices. My other criticism is I would have loved to have, and I'm sure they probably will do this later, but I did not notice anything in this episode that was affected at all by your choices in season 1.
Yeah, really.
There were small, subtle things, like for example, when the bottle rolls off from Clementine in the beginning in the bathroom, she either curses or she says shoot. She either says shoot or she curses. And that was based on, I guess, how Lee spoke around her. But other than that, we didn't really. I didn't notice anything specific that
a little bit of it happened when you were asked about Lee, but that was it.
Right, whether he cut his armor off or not. But I
Better
think
than losing it.
that's true. But I think I would have wanted to see more. But I'm sure that they'll probably be addressed more in the next episodes to come.
Yeah. So you give it like another 8 out of 10.
If we're gonna put a number to it.
If we're gonna put a number to it, I would give it a strong 9 out of 10. I think. Very strong 9 out of 10.
So the overall score would be a 9 out of 10. But yeah, but I gotta ask, did anybody love that credit music?
I liked it. Unfortunately, the first thing I thought it was, again, like at the end of the first, he was like, "Oh crap, I gotta start talking. I don't want a content ID. Why do you sing now? No!" I got to start talking immediately.
Beautiful soundtrack.
That was
a wonderful soundtrack. I did not hate the song. I loved it. I was like, oh. Talking.
Compared,
I loved that song, and I hope they use more great songs like that in the future. Because what I've always said is what draws people or gamers or even people who are just trying out games, what draws them in is one of them has to be a beautiful soundtrack, and what they did was absolutely great with that soundtrack and that credit song, and I fell in love with it.
They just need to make sure these are a different one, because I think after the third time I hear that song, it'll get old as credits music, unfortunately.
Yes.
My final question for you guys is, how would you rate this episode compared to the episodes from season 1?
Okay.
I think Kathleen already answered that.
Yeah.
So how about the rest of you all?
Definitely, it was a very strong choice, and I do appreciate that. Again, they made it. A lot of people making a sequel, they could have made it be completely different characters, and that would have been hard for me to immediately sort of bond. So it was nice again that they chose someone familiar from season 1. As far as episode placement go, I still think 3 and 5 from season 1 have affected me more than episode 1 of this one did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that. And also,
how about comparing? Let's compare, if it makes it easier, the episodes 1s of both seasons. Episode 1 of season 1 and episode 1 of this one.
I'll agree with Kathleen. I think episode 1 of this season definitely hit harder and grabbed onto that emotion, because episode 1 of season 1, it was kind of more like it was trying to. I had the feeling that it was trying to still decide what it was trying to be. It was trying to be gritty horror or survivalism, but definitely the episode 1, they knew what they were doing. Last little complaint was I was hoping they were gonna do something besides QQQE. I was hoping maybe something else to throw me off, but no, I expected single thing as far as control schemes go. Someone else?
David or Carson?
Yeah, I think this was better than episodes 1 through 4 in season 1. Episode 5 is still the one who has impacted me the most. But then again, this is the first episode. I'm sure like the episode 5 of season 2 will crush me totally. So.
Oh god, if Clem dies at the end of this, I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do if it turns out like this.
We'll see.
As far as this season's going, I'm predicting that Sarah will be the next Duck. I really truly am, and I think that would be what they would have to do to start proving to me that they got the pacing back.
Well, I'm curious to find out which episode is going to be this season's episode 3.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
Now, remind me again. I think I might be spoiling it for anybody who hasn't watched the season 1 Let's Play of this. But in episode 3, I think that's the one when Duck dies and Kasha dies. Yeah, that one had the most severe impact. 3 and 5 had the most bigger impacts on me on season 1.
Because they had such a dramatic tone shift, even compared to 2 and 1.
Yeah. If you listen to my Let's Play on that, you could hear me ready to cry. I was like,
same here. We all.
It was like that. But if I had to compare season 1 and season 2, I think season 2, it had the bigger impact, the emotionally wise. But it's just like 2 or 3 levels above season 1, because in season 1 you still see that emotional tie when you see. And you all know what I'll be talking about when in season 1, Lee goes to see his zombified brother. Oh, yeah. And you feel completely devastated. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry this happened to him.
And again, there was last thing. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. The other thing is definitely the season 2 definitely still has all of its potential going for it. It definitely, I think, can prove to be way better than season 1. And not saying that season 1 was bad at all, but definitely I think this season is definitely set up to surpass it.
Plus, plus you're building off of all of the success of season 1 too, so it's got that going for it too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As I was gonna lay it, yeah, that's exactly true. I agree with that, Kat. It would be like like let's say season 1, it set the tone. Now season 2 is building on that tone, and that's what I think they're doing. And I agree with that absolutely.
And so long as they do it right, they can only go up from here.
Yeah.
For me, I guess I'm in the minority in which I love this episode a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think I still prefer generally the episodes from season 1 so far compared to this episode was shorter. I think normally the episodes in season 1 would take me 3.5 hours to complete, and this one took me 2 hours to complete, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing because a lot happens in this episode. But I think that I find that for me with games, I tend to not like games where you're only playing one character and that character is pretty much by themselves. I've realized that a lot of RPGs that people recommend to me, I tend to favor the ones where you actually have a party, that you actually socialize with a lot of group.
Yeah.
And since Clementine doesn't really get the group until near the end, and you don't really get to spend that much time with them, I think that ended up being less appealing to me, but like I said, I still enjoyed the episode.
And do you think if the episodes got longer, and again, if she stuck with this cabin group, do you think you could like it more than season 1?
Yeah, I think I could like it more than season 1. I mean, season 1 I think has a special place just because it was new. You know, the series was new. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I think that things were less depressing at the beginning, at least. Like I definitely opened up to the original group in episode 1, season 1, quickly. Whereas for this one, I was definitely like cautious about specific people in this group, and even quickly started disliking. I mean, Rebecca's pretty much my Larry for this season.
Yeah.
Well, she's a very feminine Larry then.
Yeah.
Oh, if only she'll go the same way.
So really quickly, let's go ahead and go around the room. I wanted to give each of you a chance to briefly talk about anything that you want to say that's coming up for your channel, if you want to talk about stuff that either you're currently doing this moment or about to do. So, Kathleen, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, this week I kind of had a whole LGBT kind of thing going on, and I did a video talking about mostly lesbian characters in video games.
Yeah.
I also am finishing up my Gone Home Let's Play. This is like the first full Let's Play that I've done, so that's been a lot of fun. I'm still kind of getting used to doing Let's Plays, so hopefully my next one will be better. But Gone Home is a great game. If you haven't played it, you really should. But finishing up that, and then I'm working on some other videos, but I'm not going to talk about those until I'm sure that I'm fit, because I do a lot of editing before I even decide that I'm going to release it. But a lot of fun stuff is going to come up on my channel. I have some really fun plans for what's ahead. So
nice. Watch out for Uncle Oscar.
Yeah. Reclusiarch, why don't you go next?
Okay, let's see. I'm probably going to put up some more Battlefield 4 videos.
Okay.
I enjoyed that game really much. And in February, I'll be LPing Thief.
Nice.
Very
cool. New one, right? The new one,
The
right?
new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Nice.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Lucky Jack.
I have a Let's Play of that game. I think it was called Quantum Conundrum. It was made by the same lead game designer as Portal, and they got, I forgot his name, but he was the guy who played Q from Star Trek Next Generation or whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I know who you're talking
They
about.
got him to do. He's like the new GLaDOS role in that. I have that in the works to go up after after 400 Days DLC ends on Monday. That should be the final day I'm done with Walking Dead Season 1. Definitely am doing Let's Play of Season 2. Can't wait for that. I gotta wait for the 3 months though. And also working on a Borderlands 2 co-op thing with a good friend of mine, RC Junior Gaming. We're working on pumping out more videos for that. I'm having a real fun blast time. He's the guy who knows everything about the game, and I'm the blind guy going into it. And we're just having a blast with that game. So that's all that's going on my channel for now.
Okay. And Carson, last but not least.
Yes, last but not least, well, for me, I think for the rest of this month, I'm going to be doing a vlog video where I'm going to be showing me going into on my moving day from my house, my home city, Stockton, going to Sac State, and living in Sacramento till then. And during that time, I might also do some more Amnesia custom stories with Facecam. I'm still going to decide whether to do that or not. It was a really good success in my first one I done. And probably in February, I'm probably going to start doing no, not February. Probably this Monday coming up. I am going to get Lucky Jack and Angel Arts, who hopefully will come and be available for my zombie game Contagion, which will be extraordinarily fun.
Looks like I saw some footage of it earlier.
I like it, and I'm hoping to. I'm sorry to say this, Angel Arts. I'm hoping to hear you scream.
I'm sure I will.
I'm sorry.
I'm such a scaredy
I'm
cat.
sorry.
Do we have to do face cam for that, or can we just, record our voices?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
The way I react to scary things, you don't need a face cam. You don't need
The voice just paints the picture in my mind perfectly.
The other thing I'm going to be doing is when the game comes out, I'm going to watch a video and see if I can get this to work. I'm going to try and do some gameplay video of Titanfall on my Xbox One, which will be absolutely great. And the last thing I can think of as of right now will be the Elder Scrolls Online game, which is coming out April.
There we go.
I'm going to be doing just the beginning areas and just major PvP battles where you fight over keeps and outposts.
All right, guys. For those of you watching, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's a little bit lengthy, but hopefully it was still entertaining all throughout, or at least for the most part. We are planning on continuing this series for the rest of the season. So the plan is after every single episode, we're going to get together and do another podcast similar to this.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And until next time, love yourselves and love each other.